Lead the Way, a podcast for school leaders with author, speaker, and educator, Dr. Bill Ziegler.
Today on Lead the Way, we're going to be learning about instructional leadership teams and how a principal is working to transform her school through collaboration of instructional teams. Today, I'm pleased to have with me Stacy Monette, principal of Paul R. Baird Middle School in Ludlow, Massachusetts. Stacy, it's so great to have you on Lead the Way.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Stacy, you're doing some really cool things around instructional leadership teams, working to transform your building. Tell us about that.
So when I started at Paul R. Baird Middle School 4 years ago, they had something called Instructional Leadership Team. And being new to the principal position and being new to this middle school, I didn't really understand, honestly, what exactly it was and what the purpose of it was. And when we started to meet, we were meeting once a month. I was kind of calling it, Build a Better Baird or Spirit Committee. So it's kind of always stuck with Instructional Leadership Team. However, it's definitely transformed over the last 4 years. And I think the biggest consistency through all of this is it's a group of teachers that really want to be there. It is some department heads. You don't have to be a department head. It could be anybody who's interested in just making leadership decisions on behalf of the middle school. And once a month we meet, we talk about, certain things. Right now it's budget talks. We talk about scheduling. We talk about standardized testing schedules coming up. I use it as an advisory board. I feel like sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, guys, help me out here. I don't tend to make too many decisions in a silo. I look to my leaders to say, what do you guys think? I always come in there and I'm bouncing ideas off from them. And sometimes it could be, something I've thought of as I'm walking in the door, like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Or, do you think this is possible? The biggest thing with this instructional leadership team is when we go away every June, I take them off site for a retreat towards the end of the school year, and we map out the entire following school year so that we are ready to go. They set some checkpoints for me to do over the summer. They go over, we have a vision every year. We pick a theme. We do monthly character traits. It's kind of morphed into different things. This year it's the Life is Good, and that came out of the instructional leadership team. We talk about scheduling our community meetings. We talk about, do we want to change the bell a little bit? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? It's an advisory board, and I think it's super duper important that everybody is represented there. I make sure that every team, we're a middle school, so we have the teaming approach. I make sure every team is represented at this instructional leadership team. And when we sit down, we really are the ones kind of talking about where we're going. And it's not always great stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit of humble pie for them to say, this isn't working. We don't like where it's going. It's middle school. And sometimes, we had a flood that happened this year, and it was that instructional leadership team that really kind of kept me going. We had 10 teachers and 10 classrooms that I had to quickly move. And they're the cheerleaders. They're my cheerleaders that say, we can do this. Let's do this. What I love about this approach is that there's no bad idea that comes to the table. No bad idea. Sometimes we're like, that didn't work. Let's try it again. But it keeps the middle school focused, and it keeps us all on the same page. I think communication is huge, huge, huge. And I feel like it starts here at this instructional leadership team.
That is so powerful. I really like how you build the collaboration around just school-wide decision-making. It's not you as the principal, and so many of our listeners as principals are the only principal in their building. And this is a great way to build collaboration, to build unity, and to build buy-in from teachers. Have you seen increased buy-in from teachers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think they know when the final decision rests with me. And sometimes, as a principal, you've got to make that tough decision. But most of the time, I've heard all the opinions. I've heard the background. They know that when that decision is made, there's a lot of things that have gone into that decision. And I feel like they know the reasoning behind it. And I think that's the most important thing in administration is, leadership alone. You're not always making great decisions, but as long as people know the reason behind them. And I feel like with this instructional leadership team, they've helped me come to that conclusion, if that makes sense.
Stacy, it makes perfect sense. And as principals, and listeners, I'd encourage you to build this instructional leadership team in your school to help move your school forward. Stacy, it's great to have you on Lead the Way. Thanks so much for teaching us and inspiring us to collaborate around learning and leadership of our schools. Thanks so much to have you on the program.
Thank you. It's great being here. This was fun. Thanks.
And if you liked what you heard from Stacy, visit the program notes so you can learn more about that. And I encourage you also to check out my new book, You Don't Need Superpowers to Be a Kid's Hero. Check it out online at chaselearning.org. Lead the way for your teachers, students, and community today.
You've been listening to Dr. Bill Ziegler with Lead the Way. Bill has great resources for school leaders at chaselearning.org. That's chaselearning.org. Thanks for listening to Lead the Way with Dr. Bill Ziegler.